So, all right. So I just want to start out by saying this is a coaching experience. This is not an evaluation. Everything that has been collected is objective. It's not for an evaluation purposes. I just want to thank you once again for helping me out with all this. My first question is, how did you feel the students did in meeting your instructional goals?
I actually thought they did really well. They focused on working together cooperatively. They're very encouraging, and you could see that after reviewing the tape. We'd given them, um, I guess, like signals of like high fives when they exchange at the exchange of their relay, and we did encouragement as the relay was going on, as well as after I used stickers and to show like those who got first, and kind of just all of those dynamics to try to help promote cooperative and encouraging learning environment.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing you say is I definitely like the fact that you use those stickers because I definitely think the praise is there to push kids to be cheering louder. Obviously, they want to win. It kind of shows, hey, if I participate and do well, I can earn this sticker, and also by celebrating my team, I can also earn a sticker.
Yeah, they like the stickers. That acknowledgement, that quick acknowledgement of you did something great that day.
Yes, and I definitely agree with the quick acknowledgments because those students, at least during the race, I mean, at the end of it, they were all waiting for their stickers and waiting to be praised for it. And when you did said, "Hey, I don't know who won," kids were already going to say, "Hey, I know I won" or "They won." So I thought it definitely worked, in my opinion. Um, how did you assess student learning in relation to the CSTP 2.6?
So we just did a survey at the end of the lesson, and the kids responded to some questions that applied to the lesson. And so we kind of also just taking note of how many times a kid used positive praise. So
I definitely forgot to bring that, but that's okay. We'll continue. I forgot to bring the papers that say that,
okay.
but it's okay. We can do that for the next video. Um, so what I'm hearing you say is you used the survey to kind of check for the understanding at the end. You saw, hey, who was being cheerful, who was cheering, and who kind of wasn't. Because when we reviewed the exit ticket, we noticed that some kids kind of wrote down nothing instead of saying what they cheered for.
Yeah.
It was interesting because some of those students I saw cheer, but then they also wrote down nothing. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know if they were just being lazy or just didn't want to write it.
I think that's middle school.
Yeah, middle school is, yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Sometimes I have kids I watch, and I know they're trying, but I think they think it's like it's cooler to say that they're.
Yeah, I wasn't
not,
cheering.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. Yeah,
Yeah,
trying to be cool middle school kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so let's go ahead and we'll review some of the footage. And when it came to, let me get it loaded up first. So we'll look like we're reviewing it, type of thing. I don't want to see my stickers, so we'll just kind of have it like this.
Okay.
I got a bunch of beer stickers on there. All right. So this is where you were discussing the rules of the game. me see what I asked right there. Okay, so after reviewing this footage, how did you? I'm going to rephrase that. All right. After reviewing the footage, how did you think this went as you were monitoring the activity?
So, I thought it went well. I think that the directions were clear. I didn't have any students that seemed to have issues with how to perform the task. Sometimes students have issues paying attention, and so all the groups seemed to be able to perform the relay correctly and follow the rules correctly. I didn't see many kids or any kids trying to cheat or claim that they won. They were very honest and encouraging of each other. So I think that part went well, and they had a clear understanding of the directions. I did think that on my part, kind of the setup was a little bit long. It's the first time I've taught that lesson, and
Yeah.
so I kind of wanted to do this for a lesson that I'd never really taught before because I like getting feedback. So after watching it, I realized that I needed to come up with a couple strategies for setup and to get things moving along a little quicker. But I know going forward, once the kids understand the setup and the dynamics of the game, things will go faster. So I think that was my personal frustration was it was long on the setup. But once we got it going, I thought it went really well. So.
So I'm hearing you say is overall you thought that the lesson did really well. You hit your instructional goals.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could go back and tweak something, it would probably be the setup time.
Yeah, just kind of how I set it up, or having kids help set up and kind of do some other targets for them to help get it going. I guess. Yeah.
And I kind of agree with that too, because you were kind of doing it all yourself, but you can't really have the students help at this point because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know where to put the cones and everything. But going further, in the future, students should know what to do at this point. So if we ever do play this game, or when you play this game again, they'll have a better understanding and they can kind of get things set up and we can get started a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let's look at the data collection tools. Come over here. So, start it up. Alright. So here I have the T-chart that you asked me to provide when we were in the classroom, and I was pretty surprised. I mean, with how much those kids were cheering, it was kind of like I couldn't almost go fast enough when it came to them cheering, clapping, just doing whatever they needed to do to show support for their teams. But 32 times I had students, cheering at one point or another, or saying positive comments. I know at the beginning of the lesson, you kind of demonstrated how to be positive, how to cheer, how to support the team, not just sit there and say, it's all about winning, but you need to support your classmates, and that'll help them perform better. Some things that I saw was go, and I'm going to redact the name, it's a student name. I heard 4 times, you got this, keep going, believe in yourself twice, let's lock in, which I know is a thing that middle schoolers say now. We got this, and then we can do it. So I, at least from my point of view, in terms of having kids being positive, I definitely think that this paper demonstrates that you were hitting your goal. Hopefully that doesn't sound judgmental. That's my promise. Like, we can't be judgmental. So I'll set it up with that. But if it is, but it's no big deal. And then another observation data collection tool I have is pretty much a chart that it observes your support for positive behavior. I say the examples and then the student responses. And just some things that I noticed that you did to kind of promote that positive behavior and create that positive learning environment was just, stating cheering for your team will make your teammates push themselves during the relay race. Great job cheering for your team. When a group of kids were cheering, you kind of walked over and said, that's what I like to hear, and the students' responses were, cheering louder. Some other thing, I already mentioned the things that we already talked about from that data list. I also noticed that you encourage inclusion by having the relay teams rotate each round, so they're kind of facing off against a different team, which I thought was a really good idea to kind of have them not stuck playing the same team, and you kind of get them rotating and challenging other teams. Which I know at one point a student was kind of saying, they rotate after a loss, and they were kind of talking to their team, and they're saying, we can beat this team type of thing. Like, we should be able to get these guys. So I thought that was really fun to see. And then let me see. And we'll talk about the data collection later. Exit ticket. So, okay, I gotta get the student exit ticket real quick. So I'm gonna run to my office real quick.
Okay.
We'll let it run, and I'll just be lickety split. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
I'm weird.
You're like, and there you go. You're out.
I finished counting it off.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, where's your response page? Like,
I just marked on the boxes.
how many?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like it had it listed on there what should have been in there. So if I counted it, it was all there.
Oh,
So
it's
I-
all there.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I just checked next to the boxes, like each one that was on there.
Okay, so we're not missing anything.
No.
Perfect. Okay, I'll let to-do list, email Rosa. Okay, pay. Thank you for doing that.
All right. It's here. Kind of hand you these two things. And then we'll continue right now. I'm just gonna say, so let me see what it says here. Sorry. If I can set this up. It's probably- Okay. So after looking at these two data collection tools, what do you think in terms of your own self-assessment?
I thought it actually provided some good feedback. Confirmed that what I am actually teaching encouragement, and students are, being responsive to that. You're seeing the cheering, and it's actually happening. Sometimes when you're teaching, you're so engaged in the lesson and you're hearing a lot of noise and encouragement stuff, but just to see the validation of how many times and the comments that were being made was great. So, and when you're being observed, it's like,
Yes. I can.
So yeah, so
you
your
kind
mind
of feel
is,
that.
yeah, your
feel
mind.
with especially when I'm walking around the camera. It's kind of like, oh, hopefully, it's looking
Yes.
okay.
Well, yeah, you've got there's a lot going or pinging around in your head there that normally just is kind of. But I was proud of their achieving the goals that we had set out for the lesson. So that's
So
good.
I'm hearing you say is that you believe from your own self-assessment and from the data collected that you were successful in your instructional goals.
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
And in terms of meeting the PE standard and your CSTP 2.6, you
Yes.
say that you definitely
Mhm.
hit your marks.
Yes.
Okay. And I definitely agree with you there. I mean, from just being on the outside, a fly on the wall, it seemed like, all those kids were really enjoying it. Even the students who were, those three students that you mentioned, hey, can you please keep an eye on these three?
Mhm.
I noticed that they were participating, running as fast as they could, and they were just as encouraging as any other student. So I thought that was kind of nice to see. Sometimes you get a kid, and I don't want to do this, as we mentioned, the pre-observation.
Yeah.
They don't want to do this. It's a running game, and I'll say this, that lesson I think really it caught everybody by surprise by how much they wanted to push themselves and you know, win the game, because I think everybody left at least winning one game. So I thought that was nice.
Yeah, we had lots of winners
Yeah.
that day.
All right. My problem is that I can barely see this thing. No, it's not you. It's me. Spencer. Okay. You see it. Exit ticket. Oh, okay. Let's use the exit tickets now. So here's all the exit tickets. I'm just gonna grab like a handful and we'll just kind of look them over real quick.
Okay.
All right. You see the exit ticket. Okay. So we have all the exit tickets here, and for the most part, with this student, you can see, I encouraged my team by cheering them while they ran. Sorry, that was kind of hard to read. We asked them also if their strategy was effective. They kind of said it wasn't effective because they kept losing, but maybe just something they got to go back to the drawing board and figure out. This student, they said keep going. Was their strategy effective, and it stalled their opponent? So we can kind of see their thought process when it comes to what they were thinking about, especially at the end of the day. Their participation, they said, was a 5 out of 5. So I definitely believe that that some of these students definitely were showing everything we wanted to see. I'm gonna have you look at this one. I want to see what you think was going through, what was happening in terms of. Let me see what it says, and I can chop it up. Yes. Nope. Okay. So, what would you say you noticed about this student's response?
Well, this student actually is part of a group that isn't my fastest, and they actually had come up with a really good strategy, and so they were having success. So you see here, she says, I was encouraging by saying, you got this, I believe in you, and they even, at some point, she wasn't on the fastest team, but they actually came up with a strategy that actually won and beat some faster teams. So she said it was also effective because I got to run and have fun. So, so I thought.
So
it's good.
From reviewing this one, you would say that the students' response, you could tell that they obviously enjoyed the relay race, the activity that you put on for them that day. I mean, he straight up even says that, I had fun. And you mentioned that the student sometimes struggles with running, but that was the nice thing about your game, was it wasn't only about the fastest kids, it was also about what kind of strategy you can come up with to get your topple tubes up before the other team gets theirs up. So I definitely noticed that with a lot of students, that it wasn't just, I have to be the fastest, it's I have to be a little bit more cunning, I have to be smarter, I have to kind of figure out what works. And
it was
some students it didn't,
because I had a couple groups that definitely were not the fastest, but they're pretty intelligent kids, and they found out a couple of strategies of the order of turning the tubes to actually win. Yeah. So there is a strategy to win.
Yeah, it's not just brute force. And I think that was a nice moment for everybody, because some of these kids who do struggle to run, it's like, well, I don't want to do this because I know I'm going to lose. But this, I can win. I don't just have to be a little bit smarter. Was a nice change of pace, I'd say. Yeah. All right. With your struggling students, I actually have a clip from the video that I wanted to show you. Let me see where'd I put it? That's something good. Oh shoot. I'm trying to remember where I put this thing. 1953, there we go. So I'll kind of restart it. All right. So I know you told me to watch those three students, and this one boy really stood out to me. especially this moment when I was reviewing the video independently, but I'll just play and let you watch. So obviously, he just won. He's high-fiving his teammates. They're all jumping up and down. They're kind of cheering each other on. They're saying, "No, we won," and I thought that was awesome to see, because I know you said, "Hey, this kid really struggles to participate,"
Yeah.
but you can just tell in that moment how much fun he was having. He was also cheering. He was participating. He was definitely hitting all of the instructional goals, and he's a student, as you said, who struggles.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there he is. I mean, I thought that the lesson really, really had a good, was well done, especially in terms of hitting your instructional goal and your CSTP 2.6. That's just something, and then, all right, so I'm going to go back a little bit to 920. For some reason, oh yeah, and we'll watch this, and I'm going to ask for your visual demonstration. Do you think you could have spent more time on it? And you can kind of, I don't know, kind of say whatever, and then hopefully we're, okay, if I can find it. Stop. Another image, a shot I want to show you. This is a little bit before what we just saw. This is you during your sorry, let me repeat this. Let me show you another spot in the video. This is a little bit before. This is when you are kind of talking and demonstrating. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. We can just kind of go, because I'm going to chop all that out. After reviewing your demonstration, is there anything you felt that you could have maybe done differently? And before you answer, sorry, you can say whatever you can, but don't say I should have spent more time on it. I have to like ask that question kind of thing.
Okay.
So let me rephrase that. Sorry. So after reviewing your demonstration, is there anything you think you would go back and redo if you could?
I'm not sure.
That's
Okay.
so you can sit there and say, I think that's fine if you say I'm not sure, and then I can just sit there and say, you know, do you think it would have been more effective if you took a little bit more time on it? And
Okay. So let me think. Hold on.
you can just say you're not sure. It's okay, because at the end of the day, they're not really looking for your answer. They're just kind of looking at my answers.
So, yeah. Okay. So as far as the demonstration, I think the rules and stuff, I think it went pretty well. I think maybe another way I could have done it as I'm explaining the rules is having a student kind of demonstrating as I explain may bring in a little bit more focus. I was having some issues with some kids talking and not paying attention. So maybe by using a student as an example, sometimes that helps bring in the focus a little bit. So the kids were kind of excited. These were new equipment. So I was struggling a little bit with a little bit of focus and trying to like get them just to listen to their directions first before we start playing. So I think that's probably an area that
because you go through it, you kind of explain it, and then you had the visual demonstration with the two teams going at it.
I could have maybe combined that together.
Yeah. Do you think it may have been more effective if you spent a little bit more time on it, or do you think it was?
Well, I hesitate sometimes to spend too much time because
You're fine.
Because we need to get them going too. Because I already spent quite a bit more time than I think is for setup, and it's just too much time. It's like there's not enough time to play. So you got to really, too much time sometimes is not always better. And sometimes you may have to just ruffle through the first part and kind of go, okay, stop. And as the kids play, you might have to stop and say, okay, I see this. This is the rule. Let's review the rule and kind of because a lot of times if you just spend too much time explaining, it
You lose
doesn't,
them.
yeah, you
Yeah.
lose them, and sometimes it doesn't even help the lesson.
Mhm.
Sometimes they just need to do it
Yeah.
first.
Kind of
and-
learn by doing.
Yeah, and so with this one being that we're using new equipment, new activity, so, but I think it went well. Yeah, but I don't know if using more time is always better.
Okay, and I definitely agree. The setup did take a little bit longer than expected, so you're
Yeah.
kind of like, all right, well, we got to get to the
Yeah.
next spot,
Right,
so
yeah.
let me hurry this up. And I do agree, the kids did pick up on it pretty quick. So.
Yeah, and I think it was evident that I explained all the rules, you
Mhm.
know, and so all the rules were explained, and so sometimes it's just a little rough the first round, but yeah, so.
Should be.
Just you. Good, thanks.
All right. Is that something we will review? At what point is my students celebrate? Okay, we already did that. Discuss the amount of tally marks. We already did that. I liked how you handed out stickers to the winning teams. Oh, yeah, we're gonna do that. So, during your lesson, I mentioned it before, but I definitely think the praising the cheering kids and the students who won with a sticker was a phenomenal idea to kind of boost the recognition to students who are cheering, because obviously it's a ripple effect. You have one student cheering, they get a sticker, the other kid, hey, I want a sticker too. If I'm cheering, if I'm celebrating my teammates and I'm participating well enough, then I can also earn a sticker. And I just wanted to say I thought that was a tremendous idea.
Okay.
Let's see. This guy's taking work. Yes. What would be considered meeting staff? Okay, yeah, here. And then going back to the exit ticket. How would you determine if a kid was or was not meeting your standard?
As far as on the ticket itself.
Yes, and for this, you can just kind of be like, if the kid answered, 4 of the 5 questions well,
You're right,
or
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So you can just kind of say that.
Yeah, so we've got 5 questions here. So meeting a standard is going to be answering, like, meeting or exceeding is answering all 5 questions. And then also giving good feedback, like I don't know, or IDK, or no response, or anything that's not going to be meeting the expectation. So actually responding to at least 4 of the 5 questions and writing, we have 3 ones that are kind of like a quick circle on your participation level. Did you support your team? And an effective strategies kind of were a quick just circle response, but it really gives me more evidence when they really apply their verbal response of what they said to encourage and was it effective. So those I think hold heavy weight, and so giving those more weight to being able to verbalize and explain to meeting that expectation.
So what I'm hearing you say is when it comes to meeting the standards, you are looking at the multiple choice questions, your participation level and the yes and no's. But really what you were looking at is what did they say and what was their strategy and really what they came up with. And when it came to meeting the standard, obviously they answered all 5 questions with quality answers in the writing prompts. They either meet or exceeded. Maybe if a question wasn't written well, maybe you'd dock maybe a 4 out of 5, but a 4 out of 5 would still be meeting standard. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What's next? This is my tally marks. Okay, this is the word. Countdown. Oh, yes. We'll go back and review the thing. We'll just kind of pretend we're looking at it. One moment that I noticed with your the norms in your class is you're really good at doing the 10 count. You do like a 10, 9, and I thought it was really interesting seeing students kind of go from they're all talking as soon as you start getting 10, 9, they all kind of fall into place. Is that a classroom norm that you typically use?
Yeah, I use that all the time. Yeah, it's one that I use to bring back focus, like you said, and to show them the expectation of time of when I need their attention. So it allows them to like finish whatever they have to say, whatever giggles, whatever they've got to get out. But at 1, they know they need to be focused on me, and it needs to be quiet. And I use that all the time.
Yeah, because I noticed you used it a couple times, especially in the beginning when you were demonstrating. So pretty much what I understand is it's an effective tool to promote that positive classroom behavior. And 10 seconds is a long time, as you said. I thought that's smarter than just trying to use a 5 count or 3 count, because as you said, you give those kids that little bit of time to finish up what they want to say, and then once you hit 1, it's
or get to where they need to be. Because sometimes
yeah.
it's like they're all just sitting there talking. I need teams of 6 on numbers 1 to 6. And you got 10 seconds, and I just start counting down because then they know where they need to be. They need to be lined up, sitting down. It just is like, it gives them a little bit of a hustle.
Yeah, because that's how you got their teams, and it was lickety split. I mean, you started counting, and those teams were formed within that 10 seconds. They had their groups, and they were all set to go. So I definitely thought that was a really good classroom norm. All right. Students reflect on their strategy. Another point in the video was, pretend we're watching it. Right here, I noticed that. Yeah, let me see what it says. Oh yeah. So after reviewing this section, students were struggling with their strategies, and you kept reminding them, like, maybe it's not, like, you can't just brute force it. You have to go back and think about your strategy. You have to communicate with your team and come up with the best solution. You can't just expect kind of doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. We got to do something different to see if we can come out on top. Was that something that you thought would be a challenge before the lesson, or did you just kind of notice that as you were as they were participating, and you kind of kept noticing certain strategies or certain students maybe saying, "Hey, we're not winning," or why did you remind the students to think about their strategy?
First and foremost, it brings in a lot of cooperative learning. So to just kind of, and there's not, in many games, there's not always one strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So having them rethink it. I did as I was watching the kids do it, because it was the first time we had played it, I did realize that there's some of the slower groups were actually winning because they were actually thinking about, like, what is the order of operation, and there is an order of operation on it, and so you can win by being fast. Okay, you can win that way, but the order that you turn the tubes up, it was becoming evident that there was a sweet spot.
Yeah. Knowing that information was kind of the key to success.
Right. Yeah. So that's.
Yeah. All right. What's next? Show play with student sharing. Say that. Where do you think students experience? Oh, okay. Then after reviewing the video and the data collection, do you think that there was any moments in the lesson where students struggled?
I think sometimes they can struggle with focus on what's going on when it's not their turn.
Yeah.
So if you have these kids who get a little off task at times, so having small teams helps with that. Later in the day, I had to have bigger teams, and that became more of an issue, a little bit more off-task behavior. So small teams was really important.
Mm-hmm.
So I really realized, like, I would add more, I guess, teams, so that the teams were smaller,
more teams, but smaller.
Yeah, my class sizes in the afternoon are bigger, and so smaller teams is important. So to keeping everybody focused. Don't let them sit for too long. And keeping them moving, so. Yeah.
To understand is at least for your other classes, not necessarily this, but a struggle was kind of, you want to get in, get them moving because idle hands,
Yeah.
But because I did notice that once they were moving, everything was smooth.
Yeah.
So I did notice that.
That's
I
great.
think that's the first video. These other ones should not be as long.